Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Cozy Christmas Podcast. My name is Art and I want to welcome you today. I've got a very fun episode ahead where I interview author Darci Hannah and we talk about her Beacon Bakeshop Cozy Mystery series as well as book 2, which takes place at a Christmas cookie bake-off. And unfortunately, someone does not make it out alive. Well, in the book, not in our interview. We both make it out just fine. I'm loving the weather that we've had lately. It's been cooler, not very warm for May, which I've enjoyed. And today it is gloomy and raining and a perfect day to sit down with a cup of warm tea to read a cozy mystery. All right, well, that'll be enough introduction from me. I'm just going to turn it over to our interview, and I will see you at the end with a couple of closing comments. But until then, here is the interview with cozy mystery writer Darci Hannah.
Have you ever wondered why we sing and eat figgy pudding during the holidays? How does the butter letter from 11th century Rome create the perfect holiday dessert? Join me, Glenn Warren, on Seasons Eatings as we explore the history and origins of your favorite Christmas foods. So head on over to seasonseatingspodcast.com to subscribe on your podcast app of choice.
This month, our reading challenge is the Hallmark Movie Challenge. So the challenge is to read a book that is cozy. I know many of you think that Hallmark movies are cozy and are just the perfect fit for any time of year to help you relax and rest. So that's our challenge this month, is to read a book that you find cozy. So it makes sense then that I have invited on a special guest today. She's a cozy mystery writer, and her name is Darci Hannah, and she writes the Beacon Bakeshop Mystery series. And she has a Christmas book out in that series called Murder at the Christmas Cookie Bake-Off. Darci, welcome to the Cozy Christmas Podcast.
Well, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here, especially talking about Christmas in May, right?
Yep.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, and it's almost July. You know, there's Christmas in July. So, yeah. I mean, we're fine. Yeah.
Never too early or too late to talk about Christmas.
That's right. Especially when there's so many good Christmas stories out there to read. You got to start early or you'll never get through them all. So
yeah, that is so true. And it doesn't matter, like, especially like reading. I try to read, like seasonal, like if it's winter, I do want to find, like a good Christmas book, but I find myself reading about Halloween in the summer, Christmas in the summer, because sometimes I just can't get around to reading everything on my list until the summer. So it's always nice to have, like the Christmas book. Then you're like thinking of cookies in the summer, like, oh, what am I going to make this year for Christmas? What cookies should I include in the, in the baking schedule? So, but I think it's fun to read them all year long, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cookies, your books have recipes in the back too. So, and I did make, and I think we talked about this on the other podcast, but I did make oatmeal cherry chocolate chunk.
The cherry chocolate chunk cookie.
Yes.
It can be eaten any time of the year.
Yes. Not a Christmas cookie, but it's going to be in our house. So
it has red cherries in it. So, yeah. I think anything can be a Christmas cookie. Any cookie can be a Christmas cookie. I would do a little, when the book came out, I would do little, blog tours or whatever. And one of my questions was, what's your favorite Christmas cookie? And a lot of people put chocolate chip Nestle's Toll House. And you're like, that's like an everyday cookie. That cookie tastes good all times of year. So I thought that was kind of cute that was a favorite Christmas cookie as well. So I guess the point of what I'm saying is that the cherry chocolate chunk cookie can be a great Christmas cookie.
Yeah, they made a good spring cookie too. So
yeah.
Well, that's funny because one of my questions I was going to ask you is, what is the best Christmas cookie in your opinion? So I'll go ahead and ask that now.
Well, this is not a fair question.
I know.
Are you looking for one particular cookie?
Oh, I'm up for a couple. If you have a couple.
Well, so as you can tell when you read the book, I can't decide what is a great cookie. I think Christmas cookies kind of symbolize like the dessert of Christmas because we can make a lot of them. We share them. They're cookie exchanges that I would do with my friends. And I think personally, I think you should have a homemade cookie. Do you know? Store-bought, in my opinion, doesn't, I mean, it counts, but I prefer the homemade. I think the frosted sugar cookie, because they're cutouts and you can decorate them with the family, that is one of my favorites to involve a family. And I have a very good sugar cookie recipe that my mom got when she was a child. And that's the one that we use. And it's kind of it's like a buttercream frosting on that. So it's extra delicious, but it's not the, like a traditional, like if you buy it at a bakery, they're going to use like a traditional icing in there, which is a little more decorative, but it doesn't taste as great as the buttercream frosting. I mean, come on, a sugar cookie with just a ton of, colored buttercream that your children decorate. That is one of the family favorites.
Nothing like it.
Yeah, and if you get a good everybody has their favorite. The one that my mom handed down was very soft. And so I don't know, dang it, I want one now.
I know.
So I think the sugar cookies, the kids absolutely love. And it's funny, like what is very traditional in our family, which is the favorite, is a candy, and it's toffee. And it's like a recipe that was handed down from my father's, or my husband's father used to make this toffee. And so we've all tried to perfect it because he was like a chemist. He wasn't like a chemist. He was a, chemical engineer or whatever, but his thing was candy making. I'd love to delve into that in another book, but I stuck with cookies for this book. So we came as close to a great cookie. So the toffee cookie is always good. But I think from the book, I tried to do some different cookies that I normally don't make. And one of my very favorites is this lemon ginger sandwich cookie. And it's kind of, when you read the book, it's like they're called a signature cookie because the premise of the book is, should I talk about the premise of the book?
Yeah, that's how I was going to start. I got distracted by my stomach. So,
cookies,
yeah. So tell us about your book and what this has to do with cookies.
So the reason, when I was asked to write a Christmas book, first of all, I was so excited because, I was writing a series and you never know, like I could pitch my ideas. And when they actually came back and said Christmas, I'm like, and it has to revolve around this lighthouse bakery that I write about, has to have a murder mystery and some type of food. And I'm like, food, I mean, some type of baked good for me, like cookie was it, because there's so many different varieties and it's just so fun. So while I was researching the book, I live in a small town in Michigan, and I'm like, oh, what, Christmas cookies, like, is there like a Christmas cookie, like shenanigans, I just typed that into the internet one day, because sometimes I just do that. I just type a word in that I'm looking for. And it came up with this funny story. This little town, Sagatuck, Michigan, which is a little vacation town. They were having a Christmas cookie walk of inns. So each inn in town had to make a signature cookie for the visitors to the town around the holidays, and they could go in and they could sample a cookie and vote on the best cookie. And then so everybody had to bake their own cookie for the inns, and basically it was just to get more business to the town and more people to maybe book hotels, book reservations at these inns in the summer. But somebody actually sabotaged one of the inns, and they actually distracted the fella and then stole the cookies. And it was actually in the police blotter. That's why I read about it. It was like $12 of cookies that were stolen. And I thought that was the funniest story I'd ever read. So well, I'm totally going to try to recreate some of those shenanigans in Beacon Harbor, Michigan, which is my fictitious town that I write about. So that was kind of the inspiration for this Christmas cookie bake-off. So the town of Beacon Harbor, it's a very charming town. They go over the top, on every festival. So Christmas would be just amazing. And they decide, well, one of the women in town owns a year-round Christmas store called the Tannenbaum Shop. If you're familiar with Michigan, we have the largest year-round Christmas store in Michigan in Frankenmuth called Bronner. So I'm sure you've known. That's like one of my favorite places to go.
I've never been there, but this summer I'm going to get a chance to go.
Oh my God.
It looks like so. I'm excited.
Bring your camera. I mean, my kids, they're they refuse now, but we used to make them go and pick out an ornament. But I just love people who have that vision to have a year-round Christmas store. So of course we have one in Beacon Harbor, and it's a smaller version of Bronner's, which is the real one. But anyhow, the woman is very competitive. Of course, Christmas is her time of year to shine, and she convinces the Chamber of Commerce into doing this Christmas cookie bake-off with all the vendors in town, and then all the people who come to shop get to sample the different cookies in the different stores, vote, and then the four top two, what I like to term is kind of like the British bake off type of thing. So for the top four have to do a live bake off. So that's kind of the very beginning premise of this book. And so my protagonist, Lindsay Bakewell, who's just been in this lighthouse for about a year now, and she just wants to create the best Christmas she can for her family and friends, and to really do up the lighthouse for the first time and like all its Christmas pageantry. And so she's determined to win this Christmas cookie bake-off. She also is a professional baker, so she she does have a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
But she's overworked, and understaffed, and so that's part of the fun of the book. But that's where the Christmas cookies come in. So I was really trying to look for kind of unusual cookies that were really flavorful, that I thought when I made them. I mean, I made them in the summer because we usually write a year out, and so it happened in the summer. My children had to eat a lot of Christmas cookies. In the summer. And so we kind of nailed it down. But that's a great one. And of course, shortbread, like the traditional shortbread, do a version that's a brown butter shortbread. And then you top it off, of course, with chocolate, because everything's better with chocolate. That's a very basic recipe. The brown butter takes a little bit more to make, but it really brings like a whole other flavor profile to a regular shortbread. And that's another favorite. So if you make nothing else, that's a fairly simple, straightforward recipe. And it's worth it. Very good.
I like shortbread cookies. Those are good. I'm just looking at your recipes in the back here. So
so the turtle top shortbread, that is like the best. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Those sound amazing. I might have to try those next.
But take your time, be patient with that one, because you're actually making your soft caramel, and you're not taking shortcuts. You're making a real caramel for that topping. And then we have this, so it calls for a little bit of whiskey. My husband has this toffee flavored whiskey that we put into it. You can put a whiskey in it. You don't have to do it at all. That just adds a little more liquid, so you have to cook it down a little more. The instructions, I think, are in the back of the book. But that one, hands down, that's like eating a Christmas Twix bar with a little extra.
I'm sold. So I should have had
about cookies.
I know I should have had lunch. I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah, I hope you have cookies on hand.
My daughter Grace, it's her birthday, so we're celebrating this evening. And
happy birthday, Grace.
She's turning 13, so we've got all kinds of goodies in the house.
So at least you've got your cake. Yeah, I would just skip the regular food and go straight to the sugar.
There you go. Yeah, that's the plan.
Terrible advice.
Yeah. So about your book, tell us a little bit about the characters in the book. You mentioned Lindsay a little bit, the main character.
Right. So Lindsay's the main character. And the fun thing about Lindsay is, so she was a New York City investment banker. And so she had a whole other career, and she was younger. And she was very good at her job, but she, has the first book sets it up, and she kind of has she thinks she's going to get married, and her fiance, was cheating on her. So anyhow, she decides she buys a lighthouse in Michigan one night, she's a little drunk. She buys a lighthouse. She wakes up the next morning, she realizes she owns a lighthouse in Michigan. And I think we talked about this in the other podcast where why I think that's fun is because my husband looks for lighthouses to buy in Michigan. And he's always asking me if I want to buy a lighthouse. Usually they're not as beautiful as the one that we talk about, but I do love lighthouses. I always wanted to write a series about a lighthouse. A lot of my work has lighthouses in it for some weird reason. So I thought, well, let's just go all in and write about a lighthouse bakery, because I also like to bake. So it kind of combined a couple things. And then, of course, it's on Lake Michigan, which is my favorite Great Lake, my favorite body of water ever. So what's not club? So Lindsay has this giant Newfoundland dog, Wellington. And so he's a lot of fun. That's her, constant companion. And then she has a best friend from New York, whose name is Kennedy Kapoor. And Kennedy's a trip. She's like the high maintenance friend, but she's got a heart of gold, but sometimes her methods are not, straightforward. So Lindsay's more patient. She's had to deal with, she's like the daughter of a aging supermodel, and her father is a, Wall Street guy. So she's had to kind of deal with kind of prima donnas in her life, and she's more laid back, right?
Mhm.
So Kennedy is a good fit for her. She's got the dog, and then she has this neighbor who she's starting to date now, and his name is Rory Campbell, and so he's an ex Navy SEAL. So as the series moves on, we get to learn a little bit more like about all the characters, but Rory in particularly. So, and then
Mhm.
like I mentioned, the mom. So we start this story, and like I said, it's Christmas. Lindsay has these visions. Like she calls them sugar plum visions because they're just like these delicious Christmas visions that make her go big, and she tries to go big, and usually it doesn't work, but she's going to give it her best this year, and then chaos happens. So I think it's always,
Yes.
those are my favorite movies when you're like, oh, I'm going to do that. That's my life, actually. Is like I always have these visions in November about how my holidays are going to go out, and I start planning and try to get the details, and all hell breaks loose at some point.
Yes.
A great holiday, not the way we planned, but
Yep. Yep.
so I just thought I'd give Lindsay that challenge as well. And so it's a very fun story. We
Yeah.
have that Christmas cookie bake off, and this crazy Chicago food critic comes in, and he's just a bit of a player, and he stirs the pot. And I don't know if it's a spoiler alert, but somebody ends up dead, and it's probably not a nice person. So,
Well, as cozy mysteries go, usually someone's dead at some point. So,
well, I mean, that's the funny part. It's like, yeah, it's like thinking
which,
about who you're going to kill at Christmas, which is always kind of, you don't want to kill people at Christmas.
right, right. Uh, yeah, that's usually, that'll get you on Santa's naughty list for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think this person who gets killed was on Santa's naughty list.
Oh,
So
for sure, for sure. Yeah. And then we get introduced to a really charming character, Mrs. Nichols, and she comes in just in time to help Lindsay out in the bakery, and she's like everyone's grandma, I think. I
oh
love
yeah.
her
Yeah.
character.
She is kind of based on my
Mm.
grandma Jenny Lind, who was this fabulous baker and just cheerful with the round rosy cheeks, and just, oh my gosh, she was adorable. So when you're thinking of these things, I always love to have a little bit of something that you're not quite sure, like a little, I would call it magical or paranormal, but it's not
Hmm.
full blown, right? So it's not
Hmm.
like spells are not cast in the bake shop and baked goods automatically appear. But so Lindsay, one of the things that we learn in the first book is that her lighthouse, has a history, and it is haunted by the first lightkeeper, and it's not like a bad haunting. It's just that
Hmm.
this person is still on the job, right? So she's very respectful of this ghost that's in her lighthouse still. She keeps losing. She can't hire an assistant baker, and she's growing. Like her business is growing. It's becoming very popular, and it's around the holidays. And her dad, with her parents helping her out, I think a little bit, but she needed to hire an assistant baker, and she gets she has all these special requests for the holidays, of course, and then her normal load, and then she's got this Christmas cookie bake off on top of that. So she has no idea how she's going to make it all work, but she's determined to make it work. And kind of at the last minute, it's like I think the week before the holidays or before the bake off, just kind of this gust of wind blows the door open, and this, she thinks it's like a scary entity that comes in, and that's, I don't want to give it away, but anyhow, it's this charming
Mm.
woman who answered her ad for an assistant baker, and this woman just knows everything about cookies. Like she's got all the cookie recipes in her head. I'm not quite at that level with my baking. I know some recipes, but I mean, my grandma would just be like, "Oh, this is how we make, pepperkaker," which is a sweet Swedish cookie. She's very
Oh,
Scandinavian.
sure.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about? A pinch of this, a cup of this, So
Right.
so she just kind of she just kind of embodies this like grandmotherly energy and sweeps in, and she's just full of energy. You just know her name. You don't really know much about her or her background. And
Mhm.
she is invaluable, to the bake shop, and she's just clearing the way for Lindsay and really helping her get a handle on all this baking stuff. And she gets kind of involved, when murder happens. Like Mrs. Nichols has a very good sense of right and wrong,
Mhm.
and she does look like Mrs. Claus a little bit. We're just gonna say that. So
Mhm.
it kind of is that. I don't want to say too much, but she's a very fun character.
I loved all the winks and nods to classic Christmas things like that, and I think you even talk about the Christmas Vacation movie, and
Yeah.
Lindsay really is channeling that manic
in a
Bit at
corporate
first.
world.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the first book in your series, but this one was
Thank
even
you.
better. And
Oh my
it could
gosh,
be
thank you
because
so much.
I like Christmas a lot, but
Yeah.
it's a good story. And
If you like Christmas, you'll like this. I mean, it's funny
yeah,
because, like you sometimes I'll look at reviews and you can just tell the people that really don't like Christmas.
yeah,
Too Christmassy. That's a comment, like,
nonsense,
how could
nonsense.
you be too Christmassy? So
Yeah.
it is full of the Christmas spirit. We'll just say that. And so whenever I attempt a project like that, I just want to bring you through a whole range of, emotions and try to capture really the meaning of this season,
Hmm.
without being obvious about it. But it's just fun. It's a fun story. Yes, there's murder. So we never wish for that in our Christmas, but
Well,
it's
although
part of the job.
depends on how tense the
Yeah.
family get together gets, you know.
I mean, you don't really want to kill off relatives, but sometimes we think,
Right.
we think that.
Choke on your eggnog. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so you said you write these books like a year ahead or so. Is that
Yeah.
difficult for you to get in the Christmas spirit, in the
No,
summer?
not really. It's so weird. No, I think I have the Christmas spirit all year round, and I think that's like one of the goals is to always like carry that joy for humanity. And so, or that joy of, just life and, and the religious aspect too.
Hmm.
I adhere to all that. And so I think for me, and I think for all of us, why Christmas is so special, you have the nostalgia of our childhood Christmases. And if you had wonderful experiences, you just want to build on those as a parent and give your kids those experiences. And so I think for me, I can watch a Christmas movie in the summer and cry still. I mean, I cry at Christmas. I
Hmm.
can't read the Polar Express to my kids because every time I get to the end, I cry. And that's why they want me to read it, Well, I know they're older, but you know what I mean. But
Yeah, yeah.
they choke you up because of if you hold dear to the specialness of the message, I guess it touches you. And I try to, it's easy for me to channel that when I think of Christmas or, whenever, even though we're not surrounded by all the decorations. I think it's more of maybe a state of mind, right? And
Yeah,
like you have a year-round Christmas podcast, so you obviously live it too.
that's right. That's
You know
right.
the disease.
I feel like I need a T-shirt now that says Christmas state of mind.
Yeah, we should do it. Let's do it. What would
That's a
we
good
put
one.
on there? A cookie, a tree, an elf.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, let's see. I was going to ask another question. Do you have any tips on how to make Christmas a cozy experience?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you, but for me, Christmas is kind of cozy. We live in the north,
Hmm.
right? So you
Hmm.
you have the snow, and I honestly can't ever imagine spending Christmas in a warm climate. I
Yeah.
just don't know why. It just doesn't. I think it's just the northerner in us. And so for me, there's always that fire, or candlelight. I think candlelight makes everything a little special, a real candle. I know. Be careful. I mean,
Yeah.
you remember reading, years ago when they would cut down the fresh Christmas trees, my mom would tell me that they would put candles on them.
Hmm.
Like on Christmas Eve, they would cut them down and actually put these little candles on them and light them. And I'm like, oh, that is a fire hazard. But you know what I mean? So candlelight and fire, I think, is a cozy thing. And just, being hospitable. I think just remember having that, and this is probably why I like Christmas, because I just, love hospitality. So if you come to my house, you'll probably be forced to drink a cup of coffee or tea or something, and maybe have to eat some baked good. But just, offering that to people who come in throughout the season. So just having that warmth, no matter who they are, no matter if they annoy the bejesus out of you, the Dickens out of you. But I think sometimes just making that environment where it's, you've got some decorations, you've
Hmm.
got some candlelight, and you've got, food. And I think that is maybe the essence of cozy.
Oh, I'm with you there. My grandparents on my dad's side, they're Norwegian, so
Yeah.
we have a lot of that Scandinavian heritage. Yeah, she would just make Christmas so special. The
Yes.
decoration, the food, the worm, the smells of just
Yeah.
constantly baking food. Oh man.
And that's like, I mean, so that's what, like, that's like those childhood nostalgic memories. And like you try to recreate
Hmm.
it for your child. And sometimes in the modern world, I feel like I'm struggling. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
To like, no, 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 don't watch your phone right now. Let's do this. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I think when we were kids, like it was very magical. We believed in the magic. I mean, I know my kids when they were younger, of course we believe in the magic, but to try to, yeah, the old world, and we have the Norwegian and the Scandinavian heritage, and I mean, I guess historically, because it was so cold and dark during that time of year, it was a huge festival and a huge preparation just to be together
Hmm.
and just gather together and talk to other human beings and share food and do some fun festivities. And I think that's kind of what it is about us, that it still resonates, just that gathering with good friends and relatives and just sharing a meal together and some time together, maybe encouraging them to play a game or help you decorate the tree, or and
Yeah.
you always come away like enjoying it so much more than you thought you were going to. But yeah, the cooking, the preparation. And sometimes today I think, we live in a society that's very casual, and
Hmm.
maybe we don't have as much time to cook. But I do feel that for certain holidays, I mean, I'm always gonna go that extra mile. And that's just my commitment to to Christmas. Whether
Yeah.
anybody appreciates it, I don't know. But but you know what I mean? It's like that old
Yeah.
world mentality. It's like, this is a time of year we can start making cookies and ship them to friends. And we do toffee, like I say, and we have like a list of people we send it to. And it gets harder as you grow up and things get so busy. But just they always like love getting little treats. I think food is a
Hmm.
great gift.
Hmm. Yeah.
For friends. Alcohol, I guess, is good too.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah.
so
M- well, yeah, my grandma would send out fudge every Christmas, and then when she passed away, others have tried to pick up, but it just doesn't taste as good, you
I
know?
know. What is that? Did your grandmother makes like meatballs too, like
Hmm.
the Swedish or Norwegian meatballs, or
Yep.
and
Yep. Like,
we tried to recreate my grandma's in the family because she was like that cook. She was like, Mrs. Nichols. And she'd go
uh,
like, oh, you just throw this together and you mix this and you put this and this looks right. And then she would do her thing. But I mean, it's funny because my mom and my aunt have, just banged their head to try to replicate that. But I think it's because that person made it. And there's something special about eating something that somebody else made. It tastes better.
hmm.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
It might be the same recipe, but maybe the way that I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing, but I totally understand. It's like nobody can make fudge like your grandmother, and
Right.
that is a very sacred memory, is receiving that delicious fudge that she slaved over the stove to make. And fudge is hard.
Mhm.
It's a candy, and it's not easy.
Right. Yeah, she was such a good cook, and
Oh,
yeah, it's we miss her for more than just the food, but
oh,
it's such a
100%.
yeah, it's such a good
But at
part of that.
Christmas,
Yep.
but see, like, you think about fudge and you will always attach that memory to your grandmother. And that's
Hmm.
like the highest form of honor I think there is, when you have touched people's lives like that as you get older, you know what I mean? And that, you will be remembered, for the kindness. That is a
Mm.
Christmas spirit too. So your grandmother had that in spades. She was
Oh, she did.
Christmassy. She was
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols too.
She was. She was. My grandpa used to dress up as Santa. He had a white beard. I mean, a real white beard. He had a
Oh, she did,
Santa
the
belly.
beard.
Yeah, he looked like Santa, and so at Christmas time he'd dress up and would sometimes go to a school or a
So
couple
cool.
stores or something. And I've got a picture of him dressed as Santa, and then my grandma dressed as Mrs. Claus. She did that one time, and I'm like, oh, this is
Oh,
this is who I think of when I think of Santa and Mrs. Claus now, because
yeah.
they look so much like how you would imagine them to look. So
Isn't that wonderful? And they were just, yeah, the
yep,
joyful, the rosy cheeks. Oh my
yep,
gosh, that is
yep,
so wonderful. What a great memory. That is a
yeah.
beautiful memory. I was just gonna ask you, did your grandfather dress up as Santa and give you gifts? And if he did you know he was your grandpa?
Oh
Or was
yeah.
he
So when were younger and would come to visit at Christmas time, it would probably be sometime before Christmas. he would come out of his room dressed as Santa and
I
pretend to be
love it.
Santa. And we never knew what it was going to happen, but we knew at some point Santa was coming. And I remember the first time because I thought, oh, whoa, Santa's here, go get grandpa. Where is he? Santa's here. But I remember thinking, wait, is that grandpa? Is that Santa?
And
Yes,
you're like,
no.
why is this happening? It's
I guess the first conclusion I came to is that it wasn't my grandpa dressed as Santa. It was my grandpa is Santa.
like,
So
I think that's
I just,
awesome. And I think that I would say, I'd be like, is my grandpa Santa?
yeah. It
Are we
was like
that special family?
it was like the Santa Claus,
I love
that,
it. I think that's so
yeah,
cute. But it is fun, like when you're a child, you just, yeah, I swear like that I would hear reindeer on my roof.
sure.
Like I would swear, like, like I would listen. I'm like, oh, they're here. I'd hear something on the, who knows what I was listening. Who knows what I heard. I was a weird child.
Well, I mean, it could have been reindeer. That's all. That's all I'll say.
I think it was.
As a Christmas podcaster, we have some insight to some Christmas secrets that I can't divulge. But
Oh, I love
uh,
it. Okay, yeah. Maybe someday yes, yeah.
I
Divulge
gotta
them.
see if I can try to get Santa on my podcast here one of these days.
Yeah, and like yeah, I was just so excited to, hear the reindeer and, you
Yeah.
know, see the footprints in the snow, maybe,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Those are such special times for sure. Yeah. Well, a couple other questions about Christmas here. How about a favorite Christmas movie?
Do you even need to ask? It is Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know why I love it. Why I do. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, probably
Mm,
in the late 70s and early 80s, that thing, and it was just that Marshall Field scene and just that whole feel reminds me of like the crazy childhood and trying to get the whole family together, and yeah,
mhm.
that's one of my favorites. There's so many. I mean, I shouldn't say there isn't a bad Christmas movie, because what was the one that I keep seeing at the Krampus or something? It's a horror Christmas movie, but most of them are wonderful. That happens to resonate. Christmas Vacation just resonates with me. I love comedies, so Chevy Chase just nails
Mm.
that. That is such a great movie. But there's so many other good ones. But that would be my ultimate favorite that I make my
Yeah.
kids watch every year.
Yeah, that one's on my top 10 I think. But yeah, no.
What's higher than that for you?
Number one for me is the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
And
that's like number two for me. Maybe number
yeah,
two.
that one came out, I was a teenager and
Yeah, it's
I was
so
a big
cute.
Tim Allen fan. I watched Home Improvement and so this was like just one of those lightning in a bottle moments, that,
Oh,
oh, this is such a great movie and
it was
funny and
what I loved about that movie was how they portrayed the North Pole. It was
mhm,
so that I mean, yeah, that their North Pole scene in that movie is like one of my favorite. That's how that's how the North Pole is.
mhm.
That's a very cool movie.
Yeah, and then we're also fans of the Grinch movies. I like the short animated one, but I like Jim Carrey's version.
Oh, okay, that
Um,
was really cool.
and then I like the newer one that came out that was animated with Benedict Cumberbatch playing the Grinch.
I didn't see
So
that.
it came out a couple years ago, not that long ago.
I have to look for that.
For me, this is great because I like all the movies. Now I have one. If I'm wanting to feel nostalgic, I can pop in the shorter one. If I'm
Yeah.
in a sarcastic mood, I can watch Jim
Jim
Carrey.
Carrey.
If I want something more cozy, I love the Benedict Cumberbatch version.
Really? So
It's
so
really
that's
good.
a more cozy, a more I'm
Well,
gonna have to watch it. I love Benedict Cumberbatch.
oh
I love
yeah, yeah. He
he was
plays a
brilliant.
great Grinch,
Yeah,
and
I bet he does.
that one, just the look and feel of the film is very, very cozy and it's
Oh,
funny. It's one of the movies we all like to watch, so it's one we can all agree on. And his Grinch is not as sarcastic and harsh as maybe like Jim Carrey's was. He I don't know. It's just there's a lot of different things about it, but I like that one quite a bit.
you know what? It's gonna be on my list next year. I'm gonna have
Okay,
to
yeah,
do that
definitely.
one. Do that one.
It's
That sounds great.
Yeah, and that's the version also my daughter likes the best because she thinks he's the nicest of all the Grinches, that even
Aw,
even when he
yeah,
hates Christmas, he's nicer
it's
still
still kind. And that's yeah, because
somewhat.
like it can be a harsh story, to have
Yeah,
somebody, used to kill me when I was little. I watched the original, and he would like make his dog pull all that, and I was just like, "Oh, that poor dog!"
I
Like,
know. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what she likes about this newer one is that he's nice to Max
good.
throughout the film,
I
he's
love it. Well,
not as
tell me,
mean, not
great
as mean.
recommendation. I should go watch it now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not getting paid to say these things about these movies, so although I'm open to
Exactly.
sponsorship. Yeah.
Open to sponsorship. So there you go,
Yeah.
Grinch. Any future Grinch movies, start your stuff here.
That's right.
Start your tour with us. Tour with you with art.
Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Oh my gosh. Well, the one that was stuck in my head, what was that one? It's the holiday season. The
Oh,
reason I sing that is because my brother would always call me. I'd be driving in the car and, he'd like pop on and be like, and he'd just start singing that song. Like he would just sing songs all the time, but then he would make up lyrics. And
uh,
then my kids would be like in choirs and they'd be singing. He's like, so what are they singing this year? And then he would like go down, like, like singing them to me. And he wasn't a singer. So that's what made it funny. I love the religion. What is White Christmas is always
hmm
good. Silent Night, that's kind of thing. But sometimes the funny, like 1950s.
hmm
Like Baby It's Cold Outside's pretty hilarious too.
Yeah.
They're all great. They're great. They just set the mood. Like it's
Right.
the ones I can't really deal with are the modern ones.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
like the older, middle. I don't know. It's pretty fun. I don't know. Sometimes there's every once in a while there's a really good modern one.
Yeah.
But the traditional ones are just that's how we grew up. Listening to
hmm
the old stuff and then the
Yeah. Nostalgia plays a powerful part in it.
yeah.
I'm
So
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have one particular favorite. I would say, but
Yeah. I've got several. It depends on the day, but I like in the bleak midwinter. It's more of a carol.
I don't even know if I know that.
A
That
lot of
sounds
people, that's
great.
their spot, their response is, "Oh, I don't know that one." But yeah, it's more of a religious carol. But then
That
for
sounds great.
oh yeah, and I got a piano version of it that's just gorgeous, and
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
uh,
love I love, like, that Mannheim Steamroller, like, piano or
mhm,
instrumental, or I
mhm,
I listen to that a lot without
mhm.
words, that kind of thing. Yeah, the
Yeah,
piano, beautiful.
yeah. My oldest son, he plays piano, and
Mm.
so one year I got him the sheet music to of the version that I like of that song, so he learned how
Oh,
to play it, and
that's
like,
awesome.
oh, this is nice. Okay.
That was a Christmas gift,
Yes.
play this
Yeah.
song for me.
Yeah. How about Christmas trees? Are you a real tree or a fake tree?
Well, I love there's nothing that can replace a real tree, but as we've gotten older, and you know what, the trouble is we would leave our tree up too long and it would dry out. And then it was
hmm
my husband every year would take it into the back garden and then he, this is terrible. Okay. He would make a little like trail with gasoline and then he'd let the kids all stand back and then he'd like light this trail and then it would hit, it would hit the pine tree and would go up like a bomb. So we decided that maybe,
Yeah.
we have to take the tree down early, but the kids love the burning of the tree was like tradition. That was a Hannah family tradition. We have all sons, and anything that involves pyrotechnics and Christmas is always plus. But so we now have a fake tree, but I always try to bring in like either a smaller planted some kind of pine scent or planted pine or yeah, because there's
hmm
nothing like fresh pine at Christmas. But yeah, we just leave things up too long for for the real trees.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we made the
Same.
switch about like 5 years ago.
Well, we've never had a real or a yeah real tree. Partly it's allergy reasons, and then
Yeah.
also we like to put it up. I would put it up before Thanksgiving if I
Oh
could,
my
but
god. Yeah, I have a rule. It can't go up before Thanksgiving.
yeah, yeah. Although, so typically we do it a few days after or so, but
Yeah, we can do it
I
for a
don't.
weekend. Usually we'll have the Thanksgiving and then like Friday we
hmm
do if all the family's coming in because we have a lot of family from out of town. We'll do like a fake Christmas Eve after and we'll go from like a full-blown turkey dinner to like Swedish meatballs and what is it, herring? We all love that,
hmm
don't we? And whatever the Scandinavian thing is. And then the kids can go out shopping at midnight, I guess. Is that or is it no, it's They go Thanksgiving evening while everybody else is asleep, But it's kind of, and then Saturday or Friday, right after Thanksgiving, we put up the tree. So it happens. Thanksgiving that weekend is really hellish here. A lot of cooking, a lot of cleaning, changing over from fall to winter. But so now when we have the fake tree, it's so much easier. Otherwise, we used to buy it in, like maybe 2 weeks before Christmas. And then, like I'd say, we'd take it down probably in February.
Oh, okay.
No, I was like, yeah, I mean, we give it a good time to dry out, but we just decided that maybe it's not so good to have a fresh tree. And they're messy, you got to clean up. When you remove the tree, all the pine needles would be, the floor. And we don't have cats. And I know people who have cats and fresh trees. That is always interesting. Cats like to climb them, I guess. So.
Yep. My dad has that trouble sometimes.
I think it's hilarious.
It's like, what are you doing in there?
And then, like the kids, they love, since I have sons, we do the big Christmas train under the tree. And even now they're in their 20s and we pull out all of it, and they build it. They just love, having the train running, and it is fun. That's like the only time we pull that big, I think it's a LG size or what. I don't know a thing about trains.
Yeah.
But it's the big one.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. They'll, torment the dogs. They'll put dog cookies on that and then make the thing go on the track. And so the dogs will try to find their, trap the train to get the cookie.
Hilarious.
So not the way it's supposed to be, but that's
right.
what happens.
Before we go, I really have enjoyed this, but I do have a quick game to play with you. I've done this once before and it was a blast. But it's a Christmas version of Would You Rather.
Oh man. Okay.
So again, we present, I've got 3 questions here. We'll present 2 options to see which would you rather do. So I picked 3 at random here, and I'm almost afraid to ask this first one because I don't want to age you too much, but it says,
oh, that's okay. I'm old.
It says, would you rather be a kid or a grandparent during the holidays?
Oh, okay. A kid. I mean, is that terrible? I should be I'm not a grandparent yet. A kid, there's less cooking involved.
Yeah. Oh, definitely a kid. Yeah.
I mean, you should just sit back and let the holiday happen. Adults have too much responsibility.
There you are. Talking to my in-laws, they have talked about how much they love Christmas as a grandparent.
Yeah, I think once I have my first grandchild, which hopefully will happen, I've my oldest is getting married this year, so maybe in a few years, and then my answer would probably most definitely change. But it is, I don't know. Having kids now, my kids are old enough that it's like we wrangle them in for Christmas. I miss that younger phase, so hopefully we'll have that again soon. But you're right, being a grandparent's got to be a riot.
Yeah, well, you can get them the noisy toys and the sugar and then send them home, Have fun with that.
We'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm still a kid at heart at Christmas.
Yeah, me too.
To the point where, not only my wife, but anyone who knows me views me as one of the kids when they're talking about kids at Christmas time.
I think that's like how I took that question. It's like I identify with more like a child. Like I believe everything people tell me. Like it's like I mean, I probably the whole Santa or whatever. And like at Christmas, I don't know. I just feel like like I'm trying to I kind of identify with a child at Christmas probably easier at this point, even though I should be identified with that grandmother.
Right. Let's not rush things,
Exactly. Let's not rush things.
Question number 2. Would you rather get stuck in an airport during Christmas or get lost in a Christmas tree farm?
Okay, probably the Christmas tree farm.
Yeah,
I hate airports.
No question. Yeah.
I mean, at least you can smell the pine, and
yeah.
Maybe you find the perfect tree while you're lost back there. That's awesome. Yeah.
Although having watched a lot of Christmas movies, I know Christmas magic can happen at an airport at Christmas time. So
dang it. Good if it can.
It does make me think, but I think I would rather do the tree farm.
It wouldn't happen for me.
Yeah. This one, I like this question. Would you rather spend a discussion only speaking in rhymes or spend the discussion only speaking in Christmas song lyrics?
I, I would go Christmas song lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh. I mean, I don't know about you, but they pop into my head all the time,
Hmm.
and it's annoying. So in the summer, I mean, I even kind of put some of those in the book too because I think they're fun. You got
Yeah.
to sing at the holidays. I know I probably annoy my kids, but yeah, I would, yeah, Christmas lyrics.
I,
Would be
I
pretty.
just, how hilarious that would be if, you're at an important board meeting or something and
Oh,
you can only
yeah.
answer in Christmas lyrics. And do you need some
Dickory
time
dock,
off?
dickory dock. Santa something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. You might end up getting some time off for a mental health break or
Yes,
something,
exactly. Yeah. He'll be coming down the chimney. Yeah. So it's, yeah. Yes, I would definitely be like, you're taking time off. Yeah. Really? Insanity? That's yeah, going for
Yeah.
that.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I think both of our answers matched up pretty
Yay. So
100% here. So
we're Christmas aficionados. Is that what we are?
I
We
guess
love
so.
the
Yeah.
holidays.
Or yeah, something. I don't know what that means, but
What does it mean if we rather spend like time at Christmas than in other parts of the
right.
year? It's awesome. And
Right.
maybe that we, probably are more childlike, right?
Hmm. Yeah. We'd have a great time lost at a Christmas tree farm singing Christmas carols
Yeah,
and
yeah. Getting into trouble.
yep. Yep. Well, Darcy, before we end up talking all day, thank
I
you.
know we could.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us about your book. You've got a new one coming out. I don't want to forget to promote that.
Yeah, well, thank
Um,
you.
what is it? Murder at the Blueberry
Yeah,
Festival?
Murder at the Blueberry Festival. So it continues like the fun in Beacon Harbor, Michigan, which is a fake town, but we like to think it's real. More shenanigans at the lighthouse, but it centers around a really fun blueberry festival with this blueberry parade. And then pranks start happening. And so it's just kind of a fun pranks happen and you think it's, all fun and games until somebody shows up murdered. And that's kind of one of the jumping off points of this mystery. But it's fun. It involves, Wellington. Everybody loves Welly the dog, and so we
Mhm.
see a lot of him in it. It's just a lot of fun. It's another fun adventure. But the Christmas book is a super fun. Murder at the Christmas Cookie Bake Off. So if you haven't read that one, I mean, if you
Mhm.
want to get in the Christmas spirit in July, go for that one too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun and eat some cookies and enjoy yourself. But and Art, thank you so much for having me on your lovely podcast. I mean,
you bet.
anytime you want to talk about Christmas, you know who to call.
But yeah, so definitely, if you enjoyed her, you'll enjoy her books. They will make you hungry. Just straight up tell you, they will make you hungry, like any good cozy mystery will do. So, and then where can folks find you online?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Facebook at author Darci Hannah. I have a website at www.darcihannah.com, and that's DarciHannah. And Instagram, I think it's author Darci Hannah on that. So yeah, so there and wherever books are sold.
All right. Well, Darcy, thanks again for coming on. And
Thank you so
uh,
much.
when the season comes, I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Oh, you too. A Merry Christmas and Merry ramping up to Christmas.
There you go.
How many months do we have?
We'll say at the
It's
day of the
really-
recording, it's only like 244 days left, I think.
Wow,
So,
that's awesome. And
yep,
then I hope you get to Bronner's this year.
I
You
do
know,
too. We're planning to go to Michigan.
and it's a whole town. It's just this beautiful German town. I mean, it's just fun to
Yeah.
go up there. It's probably about an hour from where I live, but every once in a while, my husband and I will just drive up there and walk around. It's just a lot of fun. So, yeah, so enjoy. I just get in the
All right.
Christmas spirit all year. But thank you so much once again for having me. I really appreciate this. It's
You,
been just such a pleasure.
you bet. You bet. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, take care.
If you enjoyed this interview, I would encourage you to check out, I guess you could say, part one of this interview that took place in my other podcast, the Bookshelf Odyssey podcast. There I talk about her series as a whole and the writing life and how she got into writing cozies. And it's a great story that she has in her journey to becoming a writer. So if that would be something you'd enjoy, You can find the link to that in the show notes or on the Facebook page. I did post it there. And there's not a lot of overlap as far as I remember between the two episodes, so you'd get some new content there. I really enjoyed having Darci on. She also is the first guest I've had on both of my podcasts, so that is a distinction of merit of some kind, I'm sure. But I know you'll enjoy this interview. Speaking of cozy mysteries, you might have seen on my Facebook page recently, I made some blueberry muffins. I was inspired by this third book in her series. It was really good. I took her blueberry muffin recipe and I added a few things to it myself. I added on a vanilla drizzle icing on top, and I put cream cheese on the inside. They were just marvelous. Reading that book, and that book comes out in a couple of months, I think, in June or July, and it just gave me a craving for blueberries, so I had to go out and make those. And I'm pleased to say that her recipe really holds up. It turned out well. It can handle, tweaking whatever you like to put in there. You can add some extras. I almost put some more walnuts in that one too, but apparently I don't have to put everything in everything I cook. But I just like my treats with a lot of texture to it. So, but these were good. Michelle and Evelyn, you commented that they looked good, and believe me, they were delicious. So thank you. All right. Well, there's something I'd love for you to do. If you haven't seen our pages yet, check out the new logo I have, not just for the show with Santa Claus reading by a fire with a Christmas bear next to him, but also the banner of the Facebook page that I have up there is designed by Glenn Warren from Seasons Eating's podcast. And I just wanted to give him a shout out and a heartfelt thank you to Glenn, who designed that for me and shared that with me to be used. So I am certainly going to be using that. But do reach out and let Glenn know that you appreciate his artwork. And if you haven't checked out his podcast, it's the Seasons Eatings podcast. Take a listen to him. It's a great podcast. So as always, thank you for listening. If you'd like to help support the show in a financial way, you can look below in the show notes. If you make a donation on Ko-fi.com, I will send you a Christmas card and a bookmark or sticker. There's also a merch store where there's t-shirts and mugs and notebooks and all the things with my logo on it. I hope you're having a great May. I can't believe that in just a couple of months, it'll be our Christmas in July. Until then, just remember to be kind to each other and to do good. And remember to honor Christmas in your heart and try to keep it all the year. Have a very Merry Christmas.